Okay, so this is your day one, phase one little routine here. All of these should be pretty benign. First and foremost, we're gonna get the nerve moving. So we're gonna do some sciatic nerve glides in a seated position. You're gonna sit, doesn't really matter. You're kind of looking for the start of a 90-degree angle. But you're gonna bring your chin down to your chest and you're gonna start to round down. You're gonna straighten out your left leg and you're looking to find that tension sensation, right? So it might feel like a stretching. What we're doing is taking up the slack of the sciatic nerve. Wherever you start to feel that tension coming on is where you've taken up the slack, right? Where the nerve is no longer moving well. So that's where we're gonna start our gliding movement, and the movement has to be simultaneously. A nerve is not designed to stretch, so we never wanna have your head down with your foot up at the same time, right? This is not it. What you are doing is simply moving your head up and your foot up at the same time. So if I were to not move my head and just move my leg, that sensation would increase, and that's why I'm alleviating that tension by moving my head at the same time. We're gonna pretend at first that your nervous system is passive aggressive, meaning you shouldn't feel much in this and you might feel something later on. So the goal with this exercise is literally to not feel much at all. You're gonna go 20 times, no more. We can easily irritate the neural tissue. It's electric. Obviously it's getting pinched somewhere, irritated somewhere, so we don't wanna irritate that further. We just wanna get the nerve to start moving. So starting rounded back, chin to chest, head up, foot up, 20 times, and that's about it. Next, we're gonna look at your foot. So you're gonna do an arch lift. This is activating a muscle called your posterior tibialis, and it goes simply behind your shin, underneath your arch there. So all it is, I'll show you on the left side, all it is a simple shortening and kind of scrunching of your foot. So you can see I'm lifting here, my foot is becoming shorter. I'm not just scrunching my toes, I'm just arching in order to supinate that foot. For you, your pronation also is contributed by your calcaneal eversion. So if you kind of see your heel moving and almost putting more weight on the outside of your foot, then that's good for you. These can be done seated, standing, it doesn't matter. If you can have your foot on something, that's helpful because you kind of get that feedback, but you're just activating that muscle, turning it on, maybe a good like 10-second hold, and then you're done. Next, we're gonna start to fire your transverse abdominis. You'll hear me talk about this muscle a lot. It's super important, really important in the stability of your low back. So hands and knees is a great position to do that. In this position, you wanna first try to figure out how to dissociate the movement of your belly from your low back. So from here, this isn't the greatest shirt, but from here, I can either let my abdomen prove or I can draw it up, okay? This is not a cat-cow. We know that your back moves a lot. We don't need it to move a lot. It is designed for stability. So the muscle, that transverse abdominis, simply does the drawing up of your belly versus the lowering down. So first, just in a mirror, making sure that you're not getting any spinal movement, you're simply gonna activate that muscle, and it is an endurance muscle. So you should be able to fire it and hold it fired, still breathing normally, not flexing or bearing down or, crunching, but just having that muscle turn on, keep it on. And then we're gonna start to incorporate a little bit of hip flexion. So we know that you like to do this with that left hip flexion. We're gonna try to draw in and then hip flex again without anything here or anything here. So it's simply draw in, stabilize, watch that low back, knee up. On your right side, you may look more like this, where your knee's going closer to your elbow. On your left side, it may be here before you start to do some compensatory movement. So we're just hitting that limit of drawing your stomach in and then activating your hip flexor, and your low back should be in neutral, okay? You should have a little curve. You're not sagging, you're not rounding, kind of somewhere halfway in between. And remember this exercise, because we'll build on that. There will be more movements. We're just kind of starting the process. Also starting the process of turning on your left glute med. So you're gonna do a wall burner. I'll keep this short. I can send you a different video if you need more detail, but you're basically scooting as close to a wall as you can. Notice that last little bit where I'm trying to get this lower hip bone down. And then you're gonna lift your leg just as high as you can without scrunching here. Okay, so your side body's staying long, you're lifting the leg, and then you're gonna look down at your foot. You're gonna try to turn your toe and your knee completely up towards the sky as ceiling, as much as you can. And then this is where your pelvic position is important. Okay, my pelvic bones are perpendicular to the ground. If I were scooted even an inch forward, when I go to turn my toe up, I'm gonna wanna roll back. So this is not perpendicular, this angle right here. So really scoot that right hip as close to the wall as you can. Lift the leg, a little bit of pressure into the wall of your heel, and then toes up. You should feel that glute med fire. This should not be painful. It should just feel like that muscle is popping up. And then we're done. You just hold in this position for 1 full minute, and excuse me, that again is kind of the precursor of a more advanced exercise. I just want to see how that feels, and feel free to start on the right and then switch back to the left, just so you can kind of compare sides. Okay, last, you'll have to excuse my improvisation. Is that a word? You are going to use either that cable column or your any type of TheraBand with a handle, not a hairdryer cord. You're going to sit up nice and tall, making sure that you have a nice natural curve in your low back and sitting kind of on your butt bones, your ischial tuberosities. You don't ever want to be here. You want to be neutral. You're going to have the resistance coming from both sides. I'll have you do this on both sides to start, just to, again, to be able to compare kind of what you're feeling. You're going to have your feet close together so that you're not using your feet as your base of support. And you're going to create a little bit of tension from either the cable column or the TheraBand. It doesn't matter. And your arms are straight out in front. So in this position, you're gonna tune into what you're feeling. So for me, I feel when I have resistance, I feel a little bit of my obliques and a little bit of the muscles in my low back kind of firing. So I just wanna see what you're feeling here. You're gonna push out and then you're kind of come back in. Obviously closer is less resistance, so it's easier. You're gonna push out and then come back in. So sit up nice and tall, feeling the tendency of that resistance wanting to pull you towards the attachment, but using your muscles, drawing your stomach muscles in, hopefully finding something in your low back that's stabilizing. So that's all for today. Hopefully these all make sense. Let me know if you have any questions, and have fun.